In a distant place in the world, surrounded by mountains, there was a monastery where a very kind and fair monk lived, and everyone knew him for his kindness, wisdom, and compassion for all living beings. He often went out to walk around the monastery, meditating and reflecting on nature and life, when one day, while walking near the river, he noticed something floating in the water. As he approached, he discovered that it was a scorpion caught in the currents, so he felt compassion for the creature and decided to rescue it, without knowing that this simple action would have profound repercussions on his life. With great care, the monk reached out to take the scorpion out of the water, but just as he was about to grab it, the scorpion stung him in the hand, and the pain spread throughout the monk's body. But instead of getting angry or complaining, he finally managed to get the scorpion out of the water and deposited it on the shore. However, as the monk walked away, the scorpion followed him. The monk wondered why the scorpion was following him, since it had previously shown that it was not his friend, but the scorpion continued to follow him and then tried to sting him again. So the wise old man stopped and wondered what to do. After all, he could not let the scorpion continue to follow him, but also could not kill it. So he decided to take it with him all the way back to the monastery. The scorpion continued trying to sting the monk, but even so, the poor old man did not let go of it, and finally, when they arrived at the monastery, he left the scorpion on the ground, and it ran to a corner. The monk sat down to meditate on the problem he faced and how to deal with the scorpion situation. Despite his compassion for all living creatures, the scorpion had stung him and continued trying to do so. Should he let it go or keep it with him and find a peaceful solution? Then, while meditating, he realized that the scorpion was simply acting according to its nature and that there was nothing personal in its behavior. He also remembered that compassion and empathy are fundamental values of his practice as a monk and should be practiced every day. He decided that he could not leave the defenseless scorpion there, but also could not risk being stung again, so the monk devised a plan. He took an empty jar and placed it on the ground. Using a stick, he guided the scorpion towards the jar and captured it. The wise man covered the opening with a leaf and walked away, and over time, the scorpion calmed down and stayed inside. He decided that it was better to leave the scorpion in a safe area far from the monastery, so he took the jar and took the scorpion to the riverbank, where he released it into nature. For having found a peaceful solution to a difficult problem, he remembered that compassion and empathy are important values, not only for life in the monastery, but for life as a whole. The next day, while walking in the monastery garden, a young man approached him and asked, "Master, why did you save that bad and poisonous animal? Weren't you risking your own life? Let it drown, it would be one less. See how it responded to your help. It stung the hand of whoever helped it. It didn't deserve your compassion." The monk then smiled and calmly replied, "My dear apprentice, the scorpion was not acting out of malice or intention to harm me personally. It was simply following its nature. It is our own nature as human beings to try to help others, even if sometimes they hurt us in the process." The apprentice reflected on the master's words and then asked, "But master, couldn't you have found an easier solution than putting yourself in danger?" Compassion and empathy are fundamental values in our practice as monks. We should not show compassion only to those who treat us well, but also to those who treat us badly. We must learn to be compassionate even with those who hurt us, because we are all part of the same universe. We would corrupt who we are if we faced evil in an incorrect way. The apprentice understood and realized that what the monk did was out of compassion and empathy, and that this was truly inspiring. He began to understand that true strength lies in the ability to show love and compassion for all living beings, even those who hurt us. After this conversation with the apprentice, the master felt grateful for having had the opportunity to transmit his wisdom and experience. He was also happy to know that the young apprentice was beginning to understand the importance of compassion and empathy. Over time, the story of the monk and the scorpion became a legend at the monastery. People who visited the place often referred to the monk as the wise one of compassion and wisdom. The final lesson of the story is that we can learn to show compassion and empathy for all living beings, even those who hurt us. Compassion is not just about helping others, but also about understanding and accepting the nature of all things. The story of the monk and the scorpion reminds us that we always need to try to find peaceful and respectful solutions to problems, even if it means taking certain risks. At the end of the day, compassion and empathy are fundamental values that allow us to connect with others and find inner peace. And remember, never change your nature because of others' actions. We must always understand and accept people with whom we relate. We cannot change others, nor do we have the right to do so. But we can improve our own reactions and attitudes, knowing that each one gives what they have and what they can. We must do our part with much love and respect for others, each according to their nature, not according to someone else's. If you like this fable, then subscribe to our channel, like this video, turn on notifications, and leave us a comment telling us what you thought of this story. Soon we will have another video, so see you next time.